there, adventurers. Welcome to Let's Just Go podcast. I'm Chris.
And I'm Kayla, and today we're continuing our Walt Disney World Resort series with Art of Animation. It's so cute.
It's a lot.
It's for my grown up in the 90s ass, I think it's so cute.
Well, it is. It's very, you know what? It's interesting about it. It's very unique, right? And
it is.
It fits there's nothing else like it really at Disney World on a larger scale that is happening.
I do think it's what people think, like if you've never been to Disney and you're like, I absolutely don't want to stay at a Disney resort. I think that Art of Animation is what people think of. It's literally like you took a Disney movie and it threw up on this hotel, and that is what it is.
Yes. So let's talk about it. First of all, it hits the value category. So that also means thinner walls, less amenities.
Yeah.
Generally, the pools aren't as exciting, although here we do have an awesome Finding Nemo splash area. But we don't have any big slides or anything like that you're going to find at some moderates and almost all deluxe resorts. It's broken. It's large. It's very large. Although it's large, it only does have one bus stop, which is nice.
Unless you're staying in the furthest room from the bus.
Well, and however, the bus is like not a double decker high, but it's a double decker bus where a lot of them are like, you have the accordion in the middle because it's basically two buses connected because there's so many people. Again, so the resort itself is broken into 4 categories. They don't technically have a preferred category, but if you look it up, you're going to find that the Finding Nemo is the most expensive, and it's because it's the best, most centrally located to the Nemo splash area, to the lobby, which therefore to the food, the bus, and it's closest to the Skyliner. Then we have cars, would be my next choice of room. If Finding Nemo is not in the budget, I would pick cars. It is currently, although more car stuff is coming to Walt Disney World, is the only area where you can really find some good car things.
Such good car things.
Focused on the movie, because otherwise there's really not anything there in Walt Disney World outside of a little thing in Hollywood Studios that no one goes to.
It's gone. That doesn't exist anymore.
I know, because I think they're getting ready to.
Oh, I'm just saying, you can't even go to the one little thing because it doesn't even exist.
Right. And then we have the Lion. So the Cars has its own pool. And then we have the Lion King area, which doesn't have its own pool. So those 3 areas that we just mentioned, though, unique to a value resort is almost all values are motel style, so an outdoor entrance. These are all family suites in those buildings. So they, oh my gosh, they are indoor entrances.
Bedroom. Okay, I'm like, what do you want me to tell?
So, how many do they sleep, Kayla?
6.
6, but not 6 adults comfortably. Let's talk about
right. Yeah, definitely not 6 adults. That's why I was like, I think that's right.
So I'm going to say, off the top of my head, I'm going to say the average price is like rack rate, let's just say average, about $550 a night, right? Which actually puts it into the deluxe.
In 2025. If you're listening to this in like 2045, obviously it's going to cost more.
Yeah. Puts it into like the entry-level deluxe pricing.
Yeah.
What's unique about this is it is that family suite. So you have a kitchenette, slightly larger, little mini cooler air thing, a microwave, and a little sink. You have a separate bedroom with a queen bed and a full bathroom. So you have a primary bedroom, and then you have a second full bathroom. The kitchen table folds down into a full-size Murphy bed, and currently the sofa in the little living space pulls out as a full size. So I want to be clear, those 2 sleeping things, yes, do they sleep 4 people, but not 4 adults. They're only full size. The only queen is in the bedroom. So what it's great for is if you do have, kids and you want extra space, or the parents want separate space from the kids. I mean,
if you are a family with like teenagers and you're like, absolutely not, you need to be in your own bathroom. We're not dealing with that. This is a perfect spot to be in. It is again, like you said, it's a higher price point, especially considering the fact that it's a value, but what you are getting in that is the ability to have more space, which, like, at the end of the day, would you rather be paying to be in a room with two queens that might be a little smaller, or would you rather be paying the same price to have two bathrooms, a kitchenette? Like, it really depends on what your priorities are, but for a lot of families that's worthwhile. Or maybe you have a baby that you want to be able to close a door and not put them in a closet, which, or a bathroom, like that's the solution that a lot of parents have, is to put the crib somewhere that they can close a door, and this way you can close your own door instead.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So we have those three buildings, and then there is a fourth section of the resort called, they're the Little Mermaid rooms. These are not suites; they are only standard hotel rooms with two queen beds. They used to be two full size beds. Thankfully, they
They're not now.
updated that into two queen beds, although they didn't change the space of the room, so it is small. Um, and
It's
that,
also the furthest,
yes, yes.
so far from the front desk.
So sometimes we'll talk with people who are, they are a family, they have four little kids. Great. The All Star, or I'm sorry, the Art of Animation family suites make total sense. Um, and then grandma and grandpa end up coming along and they're like, well, we are going to just stay in the Little Mermaid room. So we have to be clear with folks that that is fine and that does make sense, but you will not, there is literally no way that you'll be next to each other, right? Because um, especially Cars is on the all the way to the right when you enter the lobby, and Little Mermaid's all the way to the left
Mm-hmm.
when you enter the lobby. So it's pretty far, and people don't realize how far it is.
I've
Uh,
had clients do a big family, and some stayed at Art of Animation and some stayed at Pop Century, because that
uh,
was easier than putting them in a Little
yep.
Mermaid room.
And so let's talk about that. So it is a value along with Pop Century that has access to the Skyliner. We've talked about the Skyliner before, but if this is your first listen, it's the gondola system that gets you to both Epcot and Hollywood Studios. Anytime we can avoid a bus is a win. And that Skyliner stop is actually right in between Pop Century and Art of Animation. They share the same Skyliner stop. So that's how close those two hotels are. So I know Kayla and I have talked about some of the other resorts being close to each other and then having the advantage of going over and trying their quick service for lunch or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, just to get a different feel for another
Yeah,
resort.
it's nice. It's nice to have that option. Also, I think that there's a really big appeal at Art of Animation because of the, like, this is a good spot to be with kids, especially if they are fans of one of the movies. Even if you're not, like, say that you're staying in a family suite, but you have someone who really likes The Little Mermaid, you can still go over and see all the Little Mermaid stuff. And again, it literally looks like the Little Mermaid movie threw up on these
Right.
buildings. And it's
Large,
not just inside. Like,
right.
you are out. There's a giant Pride Rock with Simba on it. Like, there's a life-size Lightning McQueen. There's the Cozy Cone Motel. Like, you feel like you are literally in these movies, and that is the entire point. Like, that is what Imagineering was planning when they built these. And yes, they're super kitschy looking, and if it's not your thing, you're probably not going to enjoy it. But if you have a 5-year-old that is obsessed with cars, and this is their first time, or maybe you're one of those families that, like, this is the only time you're ever going to go to Disney, and you want to, really make sure that this is an experience that your kids are going to love, then this is a great place to stay. And again, you have the Skyliner, you have a single bus stop. There are pros and cons, obviously, right? So it depends on what your priority is. If you need to be as close to a park as possible, then yeah, you're probably going to want to stay at one of the deluxe resorts that are going to be walking distance from a specific park. But if you care more about the specific experience that you're going to have from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed, in terms of being really thoroughly immersed in the Disney experience, like, you want to live and breathe Disney, this is a great spot for you.
Uh,
Absolutely.
I agree. You know what I love it for? When we have clients that are just who are going on a cruise out of Port Canaveral and are just staying in a Disney hotel the night before and aren't getting park tickets and they have little kids. I'm like, this is the perfect place. The kids
Yeah.
will think they're at Disney. They'll think they're in Magic Kingdom. They won't know anything else because
Especially
there's
because
so
kids
much.
just want to go to the pool. I
Yeah,
was that kid. My mom, the first time she took me to Disneyland, I wanted to go to the pool. I did not care about Disneyland at all.
yes, and that we hear that often. So
Yeah.
it's a good option. The two bathrooms, as you mentioned earlier. I mean, sometimes
Mhm.
that alone makes it worth it for people.
Yeah. It really, I mean, I think that, again, the nice thing about Disney is that they have something for everyone. So
Yeah,
if you want to be as bougie as you can possibly be, you can go to the Four Seasons. There's a Four Seasons on property. You can stay there. You can do that. If you want to be fully immersed in The Lion King and pretend that you are Scar pushing Mufasa off of the ledge, I mean, I don't know how you'll do that, but like you can get pretty close. There's
you can
you,
you can do whatever fits your budget, your
yeah.
family's travel style. Um, I will say before we wrap up, one last thing is, and I think it might even be on the list. The rooms are a little worn. It's time for
Mhm.
a major refresh. They still have carpet, um,
But it
so
is one of the newer resorts.
it is newer. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but it's time. It's time.
Is it Rafiki that says that? It
I was going to
is
say, speaking of the
time.
Lion King, so
They have done some refreshing. Like if you look at pictures of what these rooms looked like when they first opened to what they look like now, they've done like linens upgrades, which were drastically needed. They don't feel quite as gaudy as they did when they first opened, but I agree with you. They could use some refreshing.
well, and I'm looking forward to, and we'll talk about with some of the other value resorts. What they've done is they've taken that, um, and even in some of the deluxe resorts, making the sleeper sofa be a Murphy bed instead of a sleeper sofa
Yeah,
is it's a huge deal, right?
it
So
really,
even if they
yeah.
can't make it a queen size one, at least make it one that doesn't fold up and is uncomfortable.
Art of animation is for a specific type of client. We recognize that. That might be you. It might not be. It's cute. Like it's cute to at least go check out if you happen to be, I don't know, you want to take an excursion off the Skyliner or something. Uh, that being said, keep listening. We are going to be covering more resorts. We've already covered a bunch. And until next time, let's just go.